everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand. It is Manchester United versus Luton at Old Trafford, 3 p.m. kickoff. We say this every week, but it is a must-win game for this team. And no disrespect to Luton, they're great at their home, but we're at Old Trafford and they will get relegated this season. I'm pretty sure about that. Man United have to win today. But welcome everyone to the build-up show. I'm joined by Faz and Ricky as well. Ricky, we're back from Copenhagen, Denmark. Wasn't the trip we wanted, but how important is this game?
Massive, massive game today. You know, we've been, like you've just said, we say it every game. We've just played two. Really, they were both must-win games, and we've lost one of them. And that puts even more pressure on today. You know, if we'd have beaten, well, we did beat Fulham in the league. If we'd have won in Copenhagen, this would still feel like a must-win game. But now the pressure's really mounting, having, you know, bottom of the group in the Champions League and only 3 points. A massive, massive win today. This, if we can win this.
Absolutely. I mean, Faz, is the fear in you against Luton? I mean, you saw them against Liverpool. I mean, they are a lot tougher at their home ground. We saw that when they played Spurs as well, and Liverpool, obviously, they were great against them, defended really well, and then got them on the counter-attack. I mean, do you think that's how they'll set up against Man United again today? They'll be sitting in there and we'll find it tough to break them down, maybe?
Yeah. I can imagine that. They'll make it physical and scrappy for us, and they'll do their best to try and concede 0 to any goals at all, really. But my main concern is with so many injuries now piling on, how are Manchester United going to deal with if Luton end up scoring from a set piece, a corner kick or something, you know, a moment of brilliance from Ross Barkley or someone along those lines. So it'll be a mental battle more than anything. An international break straight after this game. So it's very important for Manchester United to make sure they come out with 3 points. I'm not here expecting fantastic performance and fantastic football. Just get 3 points so everybody can go into international break a bit happy, really. Yeah,
I mean, if we don't win today, it'll be a very, very depressing international break. I'm gonna be honest. Like, it'll be tough for us. Like, we're already getting bantered left, right, and centre. There's people feeling sorry for us. Like, I have City fans that I know that are literally not even texting me to like banter us anymore. They're texting me out of like sympathy because they feel that bad for us right now. So, I mean, we've got to win against Luton. I mean, I'd be interested to know, Ricky, Chong, obviously ex-United, scored against Liverpool. Quite dangerous. What did you make of him when he was at United? Because I've never spoke to you about Chong. What did you think
I quite liked him, Chong, yeah. I thought he was another one that didn't really get enough game time to show what he could do. Saw him a couple of times in the first team and he looked pretty electric to me. I liked him.
I knew you would like it. That's why I came and asked you. Anyone who plays in the Championship, Ricky's all over it. But no, seriously, guys, I want to talk to you a little bit about this Varan situation because we had the news come out last night. I spoke to Chris Wheeler about it in Denmark as well. There is an interview coming, guys, for you. I think it's going out tonight, actually, at 8 p.m. I'm not too sure on that. But Varan seems to be having a little bit of a fall with Erik Ten Hag, and this is becoming a little bit of a thing now. I mean, there's been De Gea, Ronaldo, Sancho, and people are kind of putting 2 and 2 together that it's all the big earners at the club, anybody who's on the highest wage. I don't know if it's really that. I think it's just people are reading into things a little bit. But, I mean, Faz, Varan apparently wasn't happy that Erik Ten Hag said he was dropped for tactical reasons in the derby when realistically he was carrying maybe a little bit of something. And now that he's fit, Ten Hag, we'll see what happens today, but he was still opting to go with Johnny Evans. What are your thoughts on that whole situation?
It's interesting how we had these reports last season about the Ronaldo rule when it comes to the wages, right? And all the big earners will be moved on. But funny enough, all of the players that Ten Hag's brought in, majority of them are on 200 grand, or the new contracts that have been given out, they're all on 200 grand or more. So you can almost see that Man United are trying to level out the contract situation, bar the odd player that's on 300 grand like Rashford. I think Andre Onana, Martinez, they're on below 200 a week as well. But make no mistake, Martinez is probably going to get a new contract soon as well. But yeah, I think the issue with Ten Hag and Varan and even Casemiro about the more football thing, for me, what I'd say is it's important for any manager to have the buy-in of players that are well established in your changing room. If they have numerous trophies, if they're a senior player, well-respected player, you should be. If you're a manager that doesn't have a CV like, you know, the Ancelottis and all of those other managers, you have to get them to buy in. And if you start having fallouts with them, it can cause a lot of problem in the changing room. And I'm sure that's what's probably happening now. I'm also, like, a theory of mine probably is Casemiro and Varane have been speaking to each other and saying, well, look what happened between Ronaldo and the manager. And Ronaldo was a former colleague of ours for many years.
They really liked him.
And they really liked him.
And Ten Hag did say about Casemiro subbing him at 45, it was for more football, which might not have gone down well.
So I won't be surprised if those two players turn their backs on the manager, because at any point they can just look at the manager and say, I've got more trophies than you've got finals.
I mean, it's an interesting point. I mean, Ricky, I know you can have a different point of view on this, because obviously you're a big fan of Johnny Evans. You've been saying he's our best centre-back for a while. Got laughed at, but to be honest with you, I mean, I've always really liked Varane, but he was terrible against Copenhagen. And I do think it's really tough for a manager to plan around a player when 1 week they're in the team, next week they're carrying a knock, then they're back in the team, then they're carrying a knock again. They can't fully adjust and get that consistency. And I don't think Varane's been able to get up to his top form because he's not been having regular runnings in the team because of injury, and that is tough. Maguire and Evans have been a good partnership together. Like, there's no denying that. They have been. And whether on paper it looks nice or not, the fact is that them two players have been in form. I mean, what do you make of the whole Varane situation and him not being happy about the tactical reasons that Erik Ten Hag said?
I can understand him not being happy, because that's clearly saying that I've not picked you because I've preferred the other two players to you at centre-back. So I can understand him not being happy about that. But I don't think he's got fair reason to be unhappy about it, because I don't think he's been playing well for a while. I really don't. Do you
think he's kind of getting by on his reputation right now?
I think so, yeah. I think so. Yeah, but we watched a game, me and Faz watched a game at my house the other week, and I pointed out 3 or 4 times his heading's just not good enough. I'm dying to show you Johnny Evans in the Fulham game. His heading is superb. Gives the ball away less with his head than Bruno does with his feet. You know what I mean? He's class, absolutely class.
I mean, Ricky Evans is out injured for a few weeks, Erik Ten Hag has said. So
a few weeks, have they said now?
Yeah, a few weeks.
4 weeks, up to 4 weeks.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you got it, aren't you? But who do you think he'll go with today at centre-back? Do you think Varane will come back in? Because it's an interesting one, because a lot of people are saying, well, why isn't he playing Varane and Maguire? People won't agree with me when I say this, but Varane and Maguire, for me, personally, I hope to be proved wrong, they don't work. They look so clumsy together. It's like when Varane came on against Copenhagen, it just did not work. It was so different compared to when Evans was on with him. And I'm not saying that's Varane's fault. I'm really not. I think sometimes there's combinations in football. I get that we were down to 10 men, so it was obviously more difficult. But obviously, Maguire is so much better on the right than he is on the left. Varane's a right-sided centre-back. They're both kind of fighting for one position, and when you move either of them to the left side, you're not going to get the best out of either of them, which is why, realistically, my first choice centre-back pairing, when everyone's fit and in form, would be Varane and Martinez, and if not, it would be Varane and Shaw, because Shaw's great left-sided centre-back, Martinez is a good left-sided centre-back, even Johnny Evans and Varane, a good combination, because Johnny Evans can play left side really well. You don't really want to play 2 right-sided centre-backs together. So, I mean, I'll go to you, Faz, and then we'll talk to Ricky as well about this. Who do you think he'll go at centre-backs today? I
think he'll start Lindelof and Maguire, you know. I have a feeling.
But that's not a good partnership either.
Yeah,
They don't complement each other.
But as funny as it sounds, Maguire is the only one that's been having some good moments.
Maguire absolutely deserves to start.
Yeah, so it's between Varane and Lindelof. And the reason why I'd play Lindelof is because Varane's had a really poor game against Copenhagen. I know it's Luton, and I know they'll be sitting back and we'll probably have more possession of the ball. But Lindelof hasn't really done an awful lot to say that he doesn't deserve to start. Does that make sense? He's not had a real awful mistakes in the last few games that he's featured in. So, yeah, I think the only reason the manager had taken Lindelof off was because he was ill, I remember. So yeah, I think it'll be Maguire and Lindelof. But then that speaks volumes, the fact that Varane, even when Evans is injured, isn't getting into the starting 11.
I think with the likes of Carlton Morris, who is really physical for Luton, you need Maguire in there to be able to handle him, because Maguire's good at that.
I just can't believe in 2023, Harry Maguire went toe-to-toe physicality with Hojlund. I couldn't believe it.
I'm going to be honest, we all have on this channel, Maguire's biggest critic, but recently I can't fault him.
I know.
He's been really good.
Weird.
He's been really good. His passing's been good. He's
weird.
been winning everything in the air. He's been reliable. He's been I think he's been our best defender.
His long-range passing have been really good, actually.
Yeah, and you've
Really
got to give
good.
credit where credit's due. And even in the Copenhagen game, obviously you give away that penalty, which for me was never a pen. But I actually said at half-time, I was speaking to, in the press with people, and I was saying, if I was Erik Ten Hag, I'd be saying, look, head it onto one of their hands, kick it in one of their hands in the box, you'll get a penalty, because that's the way it is in the Champions League. And Maguire, fair play to him, won that header, headed it down onto someone's hand. It shouldn't have been a pen. That one shouldn't either, in my opinion. But he got a penalty, and at first they weren't even checking it. He went arguing to the ref. Like, his mentality, to be fair, on the pitch has been great as well, so I've got to give him credit. But I do think today, despite what I said about Varan and Maguire not being a great partnership, I do think you can afford against Luton to play that partnership. But Ricky, what would you be going with?
Well, as you've said about Maguire and Johnny Evans as well, they don't deserve to lose the places. But I think the same could be said of Lindelof when he was playing, and he also got switched to cover at full-back quite a few times. And the other thing as well, which you've not touched on, you've spoken a lot about right-sided and left-sided. Of the three of them, I think Lindelof's more comfortable on the left. So I think it will be Maguire and Lindelof today. I think it will be.
Yeah, I think that's what it will be. I think I'd still go with Maguire and Varan, even though I'm contradicting myself massively because I said they're not great together, but I think you can afford to do it today. And also, you just
why would you want to do that though, Beth? It's all right saying you can afford to do it. Why take such a risk if you think no matter who you're playing against, really?
The reason I would do it is because I don't think the reason why I don't think Maguire and Varan work together necessarily is because I think whoever's on the left side is not as comfortable on the ball on the left side. And you can get pressed easily and you give away the ball a lot. I don't think Luton will be necessarily going to hunt us down and press us. I think they'll be sitting back and sitting off. That's why I think you can afford to do it. And plus, you really don't want this Varan and Ten Hag narrative going on much longer. You want him to get a good performance under his belt. I think you can afford to do that against. I think against Luton he could have a good performance. This might come back to bite me because obviously there's no easy game in the Premier League. But you just kind of want to let the dust settle and move past this Varan versus Ten Hag narrative that's out there. That's why I would personally do it.
I don't think it's a narrative. I really don't. I said it, I think 3 weeks ago, that they're probably going to have a... I remember actually at the start of the season when I said Varan's not going to be able to play 2 games a week.
Can't even play one.
Yeah, and then people said his injury record is not that bad, and then obviously now the argument. Managers have arguments with players all the time, and that's very normal. It's just how you manage them. That's all it comes down to. You have to manage them, and probably some of these players, they want to play. I don't know. Does Varan feel motivated to play against Luton?
Every player should be motivated.
Have you thought of that? No, right now, with all this going on, with how the team has checked out.
Professional, absolutely.
Listen, if I was Rafa Varan in Manchester United's changing room right now, after all the things I've done in my career, Luton Town, I'm probably sat there thinking, God. Because let's be honest, Rafa...
That's not the sign of a good professional at all. And I think Varan is a good professional.
I know, but he ain't come here for challenges. Well, he's already pre-established. Very, very much so.
He has come here for challenges. He said that when he came. He said he came because he wanted a new challenge. I don't buy it one bit. I'm sorry, I'll just call it as it. I don't buy it one bit. He said he wanted a new challenge.
Carabao Cup challenge.
I really don't think you can say that Varan will be in that changing room thinking, I can't be asked against Luton. Any professional footballer will want to be playing every game to a good level, and it's a good opportunity to kind of...
I think he would get motivated for Manchester United playing in Champions League and the big 6 teams in the league.
Well, he played in the Champions League midweek and was rubbish.
I know. Now it might even hurt his confidence even more.
I think he's motivated for every game. We played Wolves first day of the season and he scored us the goal to win us the game.
Yeah. But ever since then, the couple games after, he's just started going downhill.
Just because a player's out of form doesn't mean they're not motivated, I think. But, I mean, it's an interesting topic to talk about. Nextly, the team will be coming up any time now. I'm going to open my WhatsApp quickly. Before we get the team. Sorry, I just want to ask you, would you play Dalot or regular on left back?
I was just going to say, thank you for bringing it up.
It's a debate.
I don't want Dalot to play today.
Neither do I.
And not based on, his performance hasn't been good. Galatasaray game, Copenhagen game, Newcastle game, but he needs a rest. It's plain and simple. He's played the second most minutes after Bruno, if I'm not mistaken. And for a fullback, it's a lot of minutes running up and down that pitch. So yeah, I think the manager as well didn't do him justice by keeping him on the pitch against Copenhagen. I don't know if you guys noticed in the stadium, but many a times I noticed Dalot was jogging back and then standing still because he was just gassed out. He didn't have anything left in the tank, and I think it would have made sense to bring on Reguilon for the last 20 minutes of the game 30 minutes of the game, but I definitely don't want to see Dalot start today. But I have a feeling he is going to.
I don't think he should. I think Reguilon should start, personally. And Reguilon wasn't great in the games he came back in after injury. I thought it was good before injury. After injury, he wasn't good at all. And I understood why Dalot was starting. I like Dalot as a left-back, but he's made too many mistakes recently. He has. Like, that one against Copenhagen cost us the game.
Newcastle
it really
as well.
did. Newcastle, he had one against Galatasaray.
Yeah.
It's like too much now, and I like the way he speaks. I think he's a top professional. I think he's got a good mentality, but he switches off too much. And as well, against Luton, I would like to see a left back that's going to get forward like Reguilon does. Like Dalot does as well, but Reguilon's got a left foot, can cross it into the box well on his left, and I would like to see him play today. I mean, Ricky?
There was mistakes all over the back four the other night.
There was, but Dalot
Varan
was bad.
cost us the fourth goal where Maguire gave him a perfectly adequate pass along the floor, and for some reason he flicked it up off the floor and then tried a volleyed pass. It'd have been better off just volleying that as far as he could away from the goal, but he tried an intricate sort of little volley to somebody that went straight to one of their players. That cost us a goal. Wan-Bissaka fired a pass back at his keeper that was like a shot at goal.
No one's saying that them didn't happen.
Yeah.
We've talked about them all day. Varan, Wan-Bissaka, there was many mistakes, but the fact of the matter is Dalot has made a lot of mistakes. I can't deny
Even
that. I know you like him, but you can't deny it.
Yeah, I can't deny that he's made a few mistakes. But something that's just crossed my mind while you was talking about that, obviously we were using Lindelof at left back, so it's not only those two as options, and I thought Lindelof was doing well there. I wonder if we might see Varan, Maguire and Lindelof all playing. Would you
really play Lindelof left back in a game against Luton at home?
I would. You've got to pass the ball well. Think of Sheffield United away. He got one assist and he got one pre-assist. It's by passing the ball right. And you might think, what's a pre? Some people watching might think, what's a pre-assist? But you've got to get your passing right all the time. And every time you pass it right, there's more chance of the next person passing it right. So if he hadn't have got that pass to, I think it was Bruno who got the assist. Yeah, it was. Did he fire it at Scott McTominay? Something like that after, yeah. I think it was Lindelof to Bruno and then Bruno to Scott McTominay. Then it was Lindelof who passed it to Dalot when Dalot scored. So don't think that there's only one way of skinning a cat, so to speak. You need your full back to get round the outside. When you get in that final third, if you keep passing it well, chances will come.
The team should be coming in any second now. I'm seeing stuff come out on Twitter, but I've still not been sent it, so can someone send it me, please? But I mean, there's raised talks. Apparently Wan-Bissaka isn't playing, so that's an interesting one. After you just spoke about his mistake, we don't know if that's injury or because of
the funny thing is,
there.
Whilst you get the team news, I was just going to bring up both our fullbacks, Ricky, are not good at far post defending when crosses come in high, and Erik Ten Hag knew this against the Copenhagen game, and knowingly. And he's watching Copenhagen try and cross the ball, but they're not crossing it first time. They're almost taking a couple touches, a few passes before they cross. You're seeing these sequences, yet you're not bringing on Lindelof or Reguilon from the bench to try and get taller players, because having just taller players in the box, even though they might not win the ball, it makes it harder for the other player.
It does, yeah.
And it was an amateur mistake, so go on.
Got the team, guys, got the team. Wan-Bissaka's not in the squad, so I'm assuming it's injury again, which is just so frustrating.
So Dalot's right back.
So frustrating. So the team is Onana in goal. You have a back four of Dalot at right back, Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof as centre-backs, and Sergio Reguilon as the left-back. So Varane is on the bench again.
There you go. We said that, didn't we?
And you've got a midfield three of Scott McTominay, Christian Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes. These are that midfield three I would have gone with, honestly. And I know a lot of people don't like it because of the names, but it's the best midfield we have at the moment. It is. And then the front three is Garnacho on the left, Hojlund up front and Marcus Rashford on the right. Any initial reactions? What do you think about Rashford on the right again?
Yeah, happy with that.
He was doing all right, wasn't he, I thought?
He was. He looked a lot better on the right. He was tracking back more. He was passing better, holding the width better.
I think, I'll be honest though, I am the number one advocate of giving Alejandro Garnacho time. Number one advocate. But can't just not call things that I see. He loses the ball quite a bit. And bless him, when he loses the ball, he tries to run as hard as he can to try and win it back. But a few times he's lost the ball. One of them, obviously, Newcastle game, it cost us the goal as well, the first goal. So he has to be a bit careful about doing his skills and dribbling because when it works really well. I think he just needs to polish it up, because with Luton, if they win the ball back whilst they're sitting back and Garnacho makes a mistake, it's a similar scenario to what happened against Newcastle. They'll counter us and then score a goal.
I'm honestly really glad Garnacho's getting a run in this team. I think he deserves it. But one thing I will say is Varan and Erik definitely have an underlying problem. Like I think they have to. But the bench, everyone got the bench.
Can I just say, Beth, you could be right. You could be right, but it is. This is why I said it, and Faz said it. You know, that is the best combination at the minute, because Lindelof's the only one who's. It could be as simple as that.
Varan's not going to be happy he's on the bench.
No, he's not going to be happy, but you're never happy being on the bench. All I'm saying is it's the best thing for him to pick, whether he's, you know, whether the player who gets left out is unhappy or not.
Yeah.
This is interesting.
It's the name
I've got people in the chat saying Amrabat should be playing. Why on earth would you think that? I'm sorry, Amrabat has been terrible, and I'm not zoning him out. But McTominay's been miles better than Eriksen, and people don't like it because of the name, but it's true. He has
miles
been.
Better than Eriksen or miles better than Amrabat? Or do you mean both?
McTominay's been better than Amrabat absolutely every time he's played this season. Not after the Brighton game. McTominay before that, but since he's come into the team recently, he's been one of our better players in my opinion.
But I mean, it's okay playing Scott McTominay, but it all comes down to how he sees Scott play. Is he going to ask him to be the lone DM in front of the back four, or is he going to ask him to do that?
Eriksen sitting deep again.
Oh, if Eriksen's sitting deep, please, I'm going to be finished.
Well, it's going to be somebody's job to get in the box, obviously.
Oh,
he's the goal threat, isn't he?
Eriksen's another one who, I think in games like this at home, is great. On the ball, he's excellent, gets in the right positions, crosses, like you said, great. But like we saw against Fulham away, not where you should be playing. Eriksen's a deep line midfielder. We nearly got caught numerous times. If Fulham can finish better, we would have been toasted because Eriksen were just left for dead in midfield. So there's different ways you can play Eriksen. Some games he works spectacularly, some games he's completely out of the game. I think today he'll be all right, but we'll have to wait and see. The bench, everyone, is Binder, Amrabat, Mason Mount, Anthony Martial, Raphael Varane, Anthony, Pellistri, Kobe Mainoo and Hannibal. That is the bench for you guys today. So we have one defender on the bench.
I would have liked to see Hannibal in there today as well. Against Luton, he would have had, you know, I don't know.
In place of Udo Faz, so you can only play 11.
I would have...
We're going to get a graphic up for you guys as well.
The thing is, and Beth's not going to like it, but it's Bruno. His position, best position, is where Bruno's playing.
Yeah.
You know, getting around the edge of the box and playing little passes, getting shots. He scored against Brighton, didn't he?
We've got too many tens.
I'm not saying like you've got to do it, but you know, you say like, why ain't this player getting a run? Why ain't that player? So you need to look at it and go, well, if we're going to play that player, where does he play? To give him his best chance, you need to play him in the position that he prefers, and the position that he would prefer to play him, without any doubt, is Bruno's position. So what do you do then? Do you put Bruno on the wing again?
Yeah.
And then does Rashford not stay in? Or does he go on the left wing and Garnacho gets dropped? It's just a
But he's
a
not
mishmash.
started. Again, you're playing a low block team who's going to sit back. Martial's in the bench, isn't he, Beth? Right?
Yeah, he is.
Why have you not started Martial?
Why would he be starting Martial?
Because I'll tell you why. You're playing a low block team. Martial would have been really good against Luton.
I like Martial, right? But there's no way you're dropping Hojlund after midweek.
But no. Let me finish. Hojlund's scoring fantastic. He needs to score 2 more goals in the Champions League to total Martial's record in Champions League, which is fantastic. Love that for him. But I need someone to take the load of Rasmus Hojlund. And I am the #1 advocate for Martial to be sold. Don't forget, I fought Ricky last season, tooth and nail, for Martial to be sold and someone to be brought in. But if we have him, and he's fit enough in the squad, and he's looking, you know, decent enough, play him. Use him for the team's betterment. That's all I say. And against a low block team, you need someone who'll be good in tight spaces with the ball, and that's Martial. Maybe the wingers could end up scoring some goals because of him, and we won't see that now because
it's another one who would be taking Bruno's position for me.
Who?
Martial.
In the 10.
Yeah, because
that would be interesting.
You've even just said to yourself maybe the wingers will get in the game, and the reason that you say that is because Martial's so good at holding the ball, bringing people into the game.
Why?
Lord, give me strength.
What's happened?
You would not be playing Martial over Bruno in the 10 in this game. You just wouldn't be.
No, I'm explaining,
what does Bruno
where he
really
would
do?
play if you played him.
What does Bruno really do?
Especially when you've said getting the wingers in the game. So if he's going to get the wingers in the game, you can't drop You've got to have too many midfield. You can't drop McTominay or Eriksen for Martial, can you? You just can't do it. You might as well drop your goalie.
Yeah.
So you've got to look at the positions completely forget who you like and who you don't like and what qualities they've got. I'm literally talking about the positions that players operate in on the field.
Yeah.
And Martial's good at dropping deeper, into that number 10 role, getting the ball. So if you're going to play Martial, you want your wingers in, especially against this team. You want to get them round the back.
Yep.
You've still got to have your 2 midfield players in.
Yep.
So it's only Hojlund or Bruno that he could come in for. So what are you going to do? Drop Hojlund or Bruno?
You're not going to drop any of them. That's why Martial's on the bench.
No, but you play him on the left and drop Garnacho. And problem solved.
Yeah, I won't mind that.
Honestly, guys, a midfield of McTominay, Eriksen and Martial would get absolutely torn apart.
No, that's what I said. Put him on the left.
Like, he just get torn apart. I like Martial. I've always liked Martial, but the only places you could put him in this team, in today's lineup, would either be in place of Hojlund. Not going to happen. Hojlund's been our shining light recently. It's just not. Or Garnacho, because he plays on the left. And Garnacho is played well, so he deserves to play. Yeah,
but Martial's not been given enough opportunity to say he's been playing well. Let him play in other positions. Last season, Rashford got played in the middle. He got played on the left. This season, he's getting played on the right. He gets played on the left. Let Martial have a run of games. If Martial gets injured and drops out of the first team, drops out of the squad, then fair enough. We'll say, yes, he's gotten injured, but he's been fit. And if he's fit enough to play, use him for the betterment of the team. Just like you're doing with Lindelof.
I agree.
I want Martial gone, don't forget. I'd rather wear a Martial shirt.
I just don't think today's game you're going to start.
Today's game is perfect. Low block team. Anthony Martial on the left. You're not losing the ball that easy.
I wouldn't mind Martial on the left. That's the only place I would play him. But I just think, why would you drop Garnacho? Why? He's been good.
Yeah, but Garnacho in the second half is much more efficient and effective.
You can put Martial in the second half.
I hope he does.
Yeah,
we'll see. I hope
he's not going to use Martial at all, I don't think.
Oh.
I don't know what's going on. That's another one that I don't know. There's no rumours
Where's Donny van der Beek?
Donny van der Beek's nowhere to be seen.
Where's Malacia? I thought he's going to be back. Where is Donny van der Beek?
The Luton team, if anyone's interested, is Kaminski in net, Gabriel, Osho, Lockyer, Ross Barkley, Ojbean, is that how you say his name? I don't know.
Benny.
Oh, Benny, that's the one. I'm not too familiar with some of the names in this team, guys. Carlton Morris, he's a player I do know.
You know, the funny thing is, it's Ricky correcting your pronunciation when he's the one that says Regulion.
Regulion, Dalot, all that. Oh, God, don't. Carlton Morris, Kabore, Nakamba, Mengi, Townsend, and Doty. So you've got a bench. Chong's on the bench.
Okay.
Not even in the starting 11. But yeah, Ross Barkley and Andros Townsend starting in 2023. They were both good against.
Ross Barkley is very good at carrying the ball. Very good at carrying the ball.
And Ross Barkley's got a good long-range shot on him as well.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I mean,
Mengi masterclass incoming.
Oh yeah, Tiedemann Mengi's starting. Mengi. I remember when I thought he was going to go on to be.
Good lad, him.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he's gone to a team where he's getting some regular minutes. He's a good professional.
Yeah.
Very good professional.
Let me have a look for some super chats, actually. Sorry, guys. We've been so in conversation that I've missed a few. So we have Carl Jolly says, why does Ricky have an issue with any attack-minded player? If Ricky had his way, you would just have defenders in every position. And can you believe he played as a centre-forward, everyone? Sultan says, Varane's definitely going to leave in the summer. Sultan also says, where is Donny van der Beek? And Blue Army, member for 3 months, thank you. And Jack Trout says, we have been riddled with injuries and need to find consistency with routines. That comes with playing the same players when we can until the others get back. I agree with you, Jack. Obviously, if a player's playing badly and out of form, they should be dropped the way Anthony has. I agree with that. But at the same time, I don't think that we should be making too many changes each game. I'm with you on that one. I mean, let's get on to our players to watch. So, who was your first player to watch, Faz? Was it Dalot? Yeah, it was Dalot.
Remember.
It was Dalot.
Was it?
Yeah, it was Dalot.
And
Bruno.
Right, okay. Yeah, I think I put Bruno in there for sure. Dalot I picked because it's long overdue, him having a good game. And it's not about numbers for me, but it's about his defensive attributes that he needs to improve, really. And today, with Luton, if they get a corner kick or a free kick or something along those lines, or even in a counter-attack, I want to make sure that he can prove how good of a player he is. He's getting a lot of stick at the moment, and I think once a narrative starts, people lose context. He's made mistakes for sure, but let's not forget, you don't start defending from the back line, you start defending from the front line and then onwards. Like the Galatasaray game, when Wilfried Zaha scored that goal, the whole entire fan base said Diogo Dalot had made a massive error. And I can see why he lost the physical battle with Wilfried Zaha, but the ball is bounced in front of our box. How on earth is that allowed? And Varan is watching it. If Varan had gotten his head to the ball or ran a bit faster to get to the ball, maybe Dalot doesn't concede that goal. So. It's lack of leadership as well, but he's long overdue a good game. I don't think he's going to have one today because it's just, Ricky will probably tell you, it's physically impossible to give 100% twice a week that many times that he's done. He's played every single minute except for the Newcastle game where he got taken off.
Mind you, I was about to say there is an international break now, but he'll probably be playing for Portugal, won't he?
Yeah, and you know what? This same fan base will cry and moan that we miss Dalot when Dalot will get injured because he comes back, he gives us competition. He's had a contract, and guess what? He's knuckled down and worked hard. Maybe he's making mistakes, but so are many other players, and he's not the one that's supposed to be scoring and defending and doing everything.
He's supposed to defend.
It's a teamwork. No, but it's a teamwork thing, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And today he's not going to be helped much. Don't forget, he's going with Marcus Rashford on his side. He's not going to get a lot of support.
I like Dalot a lot. I really do. I've always said, we were having a discussion in Copenhagen, weren't we? One of your friends said, if you could only keep one Wan-Bissaka or Dalot, who would you pick? And I found it really tough because I think Wan-Bissaka's better defensively 1v1, but I think Dalot's a better footballer. So I think it's tough. And I think what really kind of drawn my conclusion is, realistically, we need a first choice right back. Dalot is great to have in rotation as a left back and right back, and he's a good squad player. I would absolutely keep him. I think he's got a good mentality. But realistically, is he top draw right back? I'm not sure. And that's me being honest.
He's 2 years younger than Bissaka as well, don't forget.
Yeah, I do like him. But unfortunately, he is prone to a mistake.
Players check out after they get a contract.
I know he doesn't. He's got a great attitude, not questioning that. I really do like him. But the thing is, he is prone to a mistake, and you can say, it's about the team, and it absolutely is, but a lot of his mistakes have been individual errors. The Galatasaray one, getting bullied, the one against...
I don't think that was his individual. I think Varan should be a leader in the back line and getting his head to the ball. The ball was how many seconds in the air? A ball bouncing in front of your box is criminal. I just don't care. It's criminal.
But everyone makes mistakes. As an all-round player, I think he's very good, but I just don't think he's...
Got us a goal as well, winning goal.
Yeah, he's a good player. I like him. And, if I had to pick a right-back to keep, I would probably go with Dalot, just because I think he's a great footballer. But the problem is, I just don't think he's top draw. And maybe he will be because he is young. I think United need to be looking at a new right-back, personally, in the summer. So a first choice, or someone who can rotate a bit. I look at Dalot, I look at, compared to other right-backs, Kyle Walker, Kieran Trippier, he's not that level, is he?
Kieran Trippier had a dip as well in his career until he went to Diego Simeone, and then now he's back and in top flight again. Dalot still, like I say, he's 24 years old. He's got at least 3 years of football soaking up to do until he reaches his prime years.
That's true. I mean, Ricky, what do you think of Faz's pick of Dalot? I know you're a fan.
Yeah, I would stick with Dalot, yeah, without a doubt. He's a better player, isn't he, overall? He's gonna have a better career in the game. If they both leave, he'll go to a bigger club and he'll have a better career in the game.
Interesting.
Barcelona were in for him for a reason.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's a good player. And for Portugal, I think he's played well too. And he's actually getting into that team now. Yeah. Pretty interesting to see how his career develops. And your other player you went for is Bruno Fernandes. Yeah,
Bruno Fernandes, saved us against Burnley. I think he should be getting a goal or an assist today against the likes of Luton. I don't know how I feel about Bruno this season. A lot of people saying he's not been performing. I don't want to come on hard on him as a captain. It's a big ask for him, anyways, especially the way we're performing. I think the most important thing is he's now being played in the position where he's supposed to play. Instead of the right-hand side. So I'm expecting him to come up with some moment of magic and brilliance. But we are playing a team that are going to sit back. And we know Bruno Fernandes is in the most magnificent player when it comes to taking on players 1v1. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm expecting at least an assist or a goal from him today.
Yeah, I have Bruno as one of my players to watch as well. A lot of people say, oh, he's only good against the small teams. Well, we're playing not a small team, but a team that isn't, you know, it's in the relegation zone. I think, like they're near the bottom, aren't they? And people say that's where Bruno.
Done well against Fulham.
People say that's where
that
Bruno
goal
comes
was
alive.
Really, really good. Yeah.
I mean, Bruno has scored against City like quite a few times.
Yeah.
But anyway, but yeah, I like Bruno. I think people will be really harsh on him in the Copenhagen game. I thought he played well. I thought he captained the team well. Obviously, we did end up capitulating because of individual errors. But like I said, it's not his fault. Wan-Bissaka isn't great on the ball. It's not his fault Varan decided to loop it into their player and give him a chance. It's not his fault Dalot lost his man on the back post. Thought he did well. I thought he was creating chances when he could. I thought his role when it was in the first half and we had 11 men, of him being kind of like the furthest man forward pressing, was good. Always works hard. Everyone knows how I feel about him. I like him a lot. And today I think it could be a good game for him to have another good performance and kind of get his form back on track, because he's not been the best this season, let's be honest. No one has. He hasn't been good at the start of the season, but the Fulham game, he got that goal. I think he's been good. I think he needs to carry on with the performances, so this could be a good game for him. Interesting point that I've just seen here, Ricky. Someone on Twitter has said Mount can't even start against Luton. Why did we spend so much on him? Thoughts on that one?
It's fascinating. Well, we've been speaking about that, haven't we? I think we spoke about that during the week while I was away. It's just unbelievable. But how much was it? 60 million
60 million.
55 plus 5.
And it's another one. It's another one who to me, his best position would be to play where Bruno's playing.
Yeah.
How many players do you want? I mean, you've just mentioned Donny van der Beek. I think Donny van der Beek's great in that position.
Yeah.
I know he's just completely bombed out, but we've got him. We've got, what's he called? Hannibal.
Yeah.
And now we've got Mason Mount. And Bruno is... It's just mad when you think about
How
it.
many
for
players?
whatever reason, because I don't see what Beth sees in Bruno, but he's the undroppable player.
Yeah.
And we've got loads of players that play in that position.
Yeah.
It's just, there don't seem to be any thought process.
Yeah, yeah. Could I ask you then, if we had, in this summer window, if we bought Andre Onana, if we bought Ryan Gravenberch and Mohamed Kudus and Amrabat, so 4 players, so we're not getting Rasmus Hojlund, do you think we would still have been better off compared to how we're playing now?
That's a tough question, mate.
Because Rasmus Hojlund, as great of a player that he can become 100%, is not scoring in the Premier League, and we could have
Maybe
used...
he'll start today, hopefully.
Yeah, and we could have used Rashford in the middle, or Martial would have played more as well if we hadn't got Rasmus Hojlund. But then we would have got, you know, Ryan Gravenberch, Kudus, Amrabat, Onana, maybe even have money for Todibo as centre-back. So...
It's possible, mate. It's too difficult to gauge all that in one thought process and say, yeah, we'd be better. But we've been, well, let's put it this way: we've been that poor overall. We could hardly be worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Another one as well. You know, in the Copenhagen game when Rashford got a red card, I've watched this clip where Erik Ten Hag is almost sulking. And his players are going to the referee and going crazy. And I don't know why Erik Ten Hag doesn't do this crowd control of, you know, like the Mourinhos and Klopps, they would go crazy. And I'm not saying Erik Ten Hag needs to do that, but it would be nice if he could channel a bit of energy into the players.
The reason why Wan-Bissaka isn't in the squad is because of illness. We keep getting these illnesses. Quickly as well, Ryan, our producer, is not answering my text. He's around the corner. Can you please look at my text? Thank you very much. If someone can get his attention, that'd be nice. But anyway, so yeah, Wan-Bissaka's ill. These illnesses keep creeping in, Faz.
You have to be very, very ill to not...
COVID? It might be, might it?
Maybe. I know many footballers who play football with Vicks. They rub Vicks in their chest, and during the game they'll just smell the shirt to keep them going. So he must be very, very, very ill. I don't know. Lindelof was ill a couple of weeks ago, but he played. Varan was ill, and then he got dropped. A lot of illnesses. Shame, really.
It's an interesting one. My other player to watch who you were just talking about then is...
Bissaka, if you're watching this, get lemon and ginger and warm water. Start having your vitamins, you lad.
He's not going to be happy with you. You always say you prefer Dalot over him.
Yeah. But it's good. Competition's good.
I mean, what I was going to say next... Oh, okay, yeah. My next player to watch was Hojlund. That's my last one. You guys were talking about him then. The reason I've said Hojlund is because he's not had a Premier League goal yet. He's killing it in the Champions League, but he's not had a Premier League goal yet. And I think he should have had one against Brighton, I'm going to be honest. I think it's ridiculous that got ruled out, but then the Newcastle one got ruled in. Like, our one was more in than the Newcastle one. I think they both should have stood, but he should have had a Prem goal, but he's not had one yet. He's my captain on fantasy, everyone, this week. A lot of people going with Salah, a lot of people going with Haaland. I'm going with Hojlund. I'm going with a player that hasn't even had a Premier League goal or assist yet. So, hit home against Luton. I don't know why the hope and the delusion is still there with this team.
Have you triple captained him?
I've not tripled, but I've captained him. And you know what? I think I'm second in the United Stand League, so this could
really
shoot me up there, or it could kill me.
The big one or the one in between ourselves?
No, just the one that's stacked. the one with the people that know nothing about football. But yeah, so I've captained him. I really like him. I want him to do well. I felt so sorry for him against Copenhagen. Honestly, guys, I don't know if you could see it on the TV, but in the game when Dalot made that mistake that led to a goal, Hojlund went mental.
No, I didn't see it.
And he was going crazy, like having a proper go at him. And I thought, 20 years old, he's just walked into Man United, and I like that about him. I really do like it. So he must be frustrating when all the Champions League goals you've scored come out to no points.
100%.
So I like him. And Ricky, I know you're a big fan of Martial, but are you liking Hojlund? He's 20 years old.
Yeah, he's fine. Yeah, he's not as good as Martial, but he can improve. People look. I'm not knocking the kid for this, but I heard people saying he scored 2 great goals at the weekend. You can't miss them goals. They're not great goals. You've got to be there. Yeah. You've got to keep. But this is something else. People saying, yeah, but he's there. If you were a centre forward, and let's take the Garnacho goal for example. He's running forward, probably ran 40 yards with the ball. If you don't keep pace with him, what are you doing on the football pitch? You know what I mean? So fair play to him. He got his goals, but any Premier League striker would have scored them 2 goals. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then people go, wow, it's great.
If he was Martial scoring, he'd be getting the balloons and banners out, wouldn't he?
I wouldn't.
You would?
No,
you would.
Tony Marshall, he gets in the right spots.
Let's be honest. You often hear, oh, what a great goal. How can, if they're great goals, I don't get it. What about proper great goals, shots from miles out, and where you beat 2 men and all that? Do you know what I mean?
The one against Galatasaray when he took the ball himself.
And I'm talking about the 2 the other night.
I know, but he scored some good ones. He has.
Yeah, the Galatasaray was fantastic.
Yeah, he's
fantastic.
He's looking good, I think. I really do, and I just hope he doesn't get United fired. that happens quickly. It happens quickly. I mean, let's talk about a few more decisions. Eriksen and McTominay in the midfield. Ricky, I know you like that partnership. What do you think that could bring today?
A bit of control of the game. Eriksen brings control of the game. I was disappointed he got subbed at half-time on Wednesday. Definitely helps us to control the game. And in this game, at Old Trafford against Luton, it's going to be vital that we look after the ball, play lots of simple short passes, pull them around, and hopefully that'll create gaps for us to be able to put decent balls into the box. I hope. Yeah,
I mean, Eriksen, McTominay, Faz. I know it's not the popular names in the fan base to be in that midfield, but do you think they deserve to be starting?
Well, deserve or don't deserve is another question on its own. I think Eriksen's made some mistakes in the last game as well that he's played. So, not Copenhagen, the one before. I think, look, Scott McTominay is not actually doing bad. So he's the one I'd say, okay, he deserves to be playing minutes compared to anybody else. But with Christian Eriksen, as good as he can be with his passing, the way players go past him is a big concern. And it's not that, okay, a player dribbles past Eriksen and it might not lead to a goal, but what that does is it lowers our confidence and increases the opposition's confidence to be able to continually do that. And it doesn't help us in games that midfield gets carved open. So that 3-1-6 system, if Eriksen is the last man, we have huge concerns, and I won't be surprised if we end up conceding because of this system and Eriksen being the deep line playmaker.
I mean, they were both, McTominay and Eriksen, involved in the first goal against Fulham, which I think should have stood. Eriksen's obviously crossed into the box because of Garnacho and the McTominay back post. I think they both can provide good qualities. I get why they're both starting, but like you said, I don't like Eriksen as the deepest midfielder back. I don't.
He might be using Eriksen, and I hope that's the case, to take the set piece.
The one thing it concerns me is the fact that Mason Mount can't get into this team. And Ten Hag said in his press conference he has to fight his way back in. It's because other players are doing better. I'm like, this is one of our worst seasons that starts the season we've had, if not maybe one of the worst, if not the worst. And I'm like, if Mason Mount can't get into this team, you've bought him for 60 mil, so surely there's a problem. Because, you know, McTominay, he was going to sell potentially in the summer, and then Eriksen as well. Everyone thought he was bringing Mount in to kind of take over Eriksen's role, and now Eriksen's starting, McTominay's starting every week. It's like, why are you so hell-bent on Mount when he can't get into a side that started the worst that we've started in a season? It's strange to me. Sambo Silly says, Al Mambasaka ill, what are you feeding these players? Swear I've got an illness-related injury every week. Yeah, it does feel like injuries coming a lot. Next one we'll talk about is Kobe Mainoo, back in the matchday squad today. Very exciting player that a lot of fans are hyping up massively. Was good in pre-season. You know, still don't think we'll see him today. But Faz, a lot of fans asking to see Kobe Mainoo. How far off the first team do you think he is?
It's an interesting one. I think right now is definitely not the right time to be bringing him into the starting 11 or anywhere near that. I think it's more important to just use him. I would have said cup games, but we're not in the Carabao Cup, are we? I don't know. I think there's more senior players that need to fight for their position before he can get one. Amrabat's been one of them, for example. Mount is one of them, for example. Hannibal's actually done well in the minutes that he's played as well, so he's got to fight over them, all of them. And he might be a better player than all of them.
Plays a bit of a different position, I think, to Hannibal.
Well,
a bit deeper, obviously, isn't he?
Even if he plays a bit deeper, you'll have Casemiro who'll come back after injury, you know.
Well, there's talks, Ricky, that Casemiro might be going to Saudi Arabia next summer, potentially, and that they're looking for a new six. Kobe Mainoo, do you think he could be that answer, or do you see him more as a box-to-box player? I know you've not seen much of him.
Not seen enough of him, love. What I did see of him, I liked it a lot on the pre-season tour. I did like it, and I was just about to say I don't really know as yet what his best position is, and is he yet another one whose best position might be the same position that Bruno plays? I don't know. You know, you tell me.
Oh, he's not a 10. No.
He's
Definitely not.
8 or a 6.
He's an 8 or a 6. I think he's, personally, from what I've seen, I might be wrong. People in the chat, let me know. I've seen him in the under-21s as well. I think he's a 8, personally. I think he's like a box-to-box player. I don't know if he's a deep line 6. I think he can play that role, but I think he'd work really well with, like, for example, say if you played, like, you know, double pivot. With another player of his similar ilk to him. But it's an interesting one when we'll get to see him. Nick Coutry says, Ricky, Nick from Australia, always appreciate your opinion, mate. This United squad have been crying out for a few leaders for years. Do you agree? Do you agree on the fact that there's not many leaders in this team, Ricky?
Certainly appears that way, doesn't it? Yeah, certainly appears that. Well, we've got Bruno as the captain, and I think he's a shocking captain, so there can't be that many leaders, can there?
Ricky, how many times are you going to have this argument?
And the leaders that we do have, or did have, the managers got rid of them. Got rid of them, and Varan and Casemiro, he's having issues with them.
Faz and everyone in the chat, you should have heard some of the conversations that went down in the Copenhagen bar when we were out. It was crazy. Ryan's head was falling off, our producer over there. I mean, we had some very, very interesting conversations.
It's funny that people think some of us have the maddest opinions on camera, but if we got those fans come and say their opinion, I think people would be like, what on earth is going on?
Interesting one. We're just going to switch Faz's mic quickly because I think we're having some technical difficulties with it. But Ricky, I'll talk to you. Got a few super chats coming in here. We have one from Edward saying, has Ten Hag given up on Varan and Amrabat? Kevin Shields says, starting to wonder if Mount was a club signing to boost homegrown player quota. Ricky, I was talking about that, wasn't I?
Yeah,
and people didn't believe me. Yeah. But yeah, I think Ten Hag, it was a Ten Hag signing, I do. But it is a really, really, really weird one. Minnie says, can't go for players that we like. Rashford and Garnacho fast, but always lose the ball. Martial can play within a tight space. Interesting stuff. I mean, Ricky, what are your thoughts on Amrabat? Because obviously he's just come in, but Ten Hag signed 2 midfielders in the summer, Mount and Amrabat, and they both can't get into the first team. Like, this is worrying, isn't it?
Yeah, I said to you on a show the other week that we've got an embarrassment of riches, and you said we've got an embarrassment of averageness.
Yeah.
And we you know, whether they're good players, poor players, or average players, we've got too many midfield players. I know you need a squad, but there doesn't seem to be enough thought given to the players that we're signing. I mean, I know Casemiro's out injured. You know, Casemiro's out injured. Amrabat, who's a similar style of player, still can't get in the lineup. Mason Mount was 60 million quid. He can't get in the lineup. McTominay and Eriksen, who were the pair that started off at the beginning. I mean, how many midfield players have we signed since the beginning of last season? And McTominay and Eriksen were the pair that started off at the beginning of last season. And now we're back, and I'm not against it, by the way, but now we're back to McTominay and Eriksen. And I bet we signed about 6 midfield players in that interview.
And it doesn't show that you've got any plan of building this team.
Looks like there's no plan.
I'm sorry,
there,
but it doesn't. People who say that believe in the process, I'm willing to, I'm ready to, but this is not signs of any process. This is signs of regress more than anything.
Yeah. It's a bit shambolic, really.
As well, guys, another one. I don't want to be negative, but I think we signed Garnacho for like 500 grand from Atletico Madrid. Anthony was nearly 90 million, and Anthony's now been benched for him. It's the right decision, but it's craziness, isn't it?
Listen, I'll tell you one thing. If Erik Ten Hag is sacked by Manchester United, it's going to be a very weird situation with Anthony, because there's one of two things. One, he ends up staying in Man United, so we take one of the biggest losses ever. Or two, what happens is he takes Anthony to his new club, and he then doesn't pay the money that we paid. He might end up paying, I don't know, 20 million for Anthony. So Man United lose out either way. We're in a shit situation with this signing, and it's down to the manager to make it work, not up to me.
It's got to be his signing. He played for him. He was playing for him. It's got to be his signing.
He's got 4 of his signings on the bench.
Yeah.
Believe in the process, people. Believe. Believe. I don't know what you lot believing in. What's this mythical process, but believe in it.
Faz, I'm getting told that you need to move your mic off your coat, because I think it's making a bit of a sound.
Is it okay now?
I mean, I'll get told, I'm sure, in a few minutes, but yeah, I think that'll be fine. I mean, Michael says we either win or lose, can't even fight for draws. I mean, Ricky, would a draw today even be a disaster?
It'd be an absolute disaster against Luton Town at Old Trafford. It'd be an absolute disaster. We've got to win this game, and I don't think we look. I hope I'm wrong, but I do fancy us to win it. You're probably going to come to predictions in a minute, are you?
Yeah,
I do fancy us to win it, but I don't think it's going to be easy. We just don't play well enough. Or maybe they prove me wrong today, but we just don't play well enough. We don't create enough chances, and hopefully they do today. But I just don't see it happening, really. I can see, I mean, we're going to, like I say, we'll come to predictions, but I think we'll win 1-0, 2-0 at best, or maybe 2-1 even.
Faz, K-Flow says we should just turn your mic off. But no, we'll get on to the predictions. Faz, what are you going with?
1-1.
1-1 against Luton.
Yeah.
You being serious?
Yeah.
I'm taking my friends to see this game just because I'm that sure we're going to win.
Have they brought some luck with them?
I mean, I hope so.
If we don't get 3 points, don't ever bring them again.
I mean,
no luck.
I
made the same mistake with my friends. I'm not bringing them again.
If we play anything like we have been recently, they won't want to come again. They'll be leaving at half time. But I mean, Ricky, what are you going with?
I'll go 2-1 United.
2-1. I'm going with 3-0.
I hope you're right. Can't see it.
And I don't know why I'm doing it. I do it every time. I do it every time. And then people clip it up and say, what an idiot. But I come on, Luton at home. You've got to be winning that game. You've got to be.
Listen,
if it was away, I'd be saying,
What was the Spurs score, by the way?
The Spurs score. I'll get
Can someone in the chat tell us what's the Spurs score?
I'll get it up now.
Spurs
and Wolves. They're obviously Tottenham.
1-1, 93rd minute. Oh, Wolves scored in the 91st minute.
Oh.
So 1-1. That's a good result. I mean, Spurs are way ahead of us, so it's not really that much difference. But it's a good result.
Listen, let's see. We don't have any home form at the moment.
Who's scoring that goal?
1 goal. It ain't going to be Rasmus Hojlund, I don't think.
Yeah, it will.
I hope so. I have a feeling we're going to get a goal from Scott McTominay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ricky, who was scoring your goals for you?
We were talking about getting in the box, weren't we? He got an assist on Wednesday, didn't he, from the dead ball line. You know what I mean? So brilliant piece of play. Not just by him. I mean, it's like a team goal. One, it's a great goal. I've said 2-1. I'll go McTominay and Hojlund.
Interesting. I mean,
what about your 3 goals?
My 3 goals. I'm going to go Hojlund with 2, purely because he's my captain on fantasy.
And
then Bruno, yeah, you're right. That'd be the perfect
Bruno's
day
not
for
in
me.
your fantasy team, is he?
I couldn't afford to get him
Look
in.
at this girl.
It's too
She's a cheat.
expensive.
She's a disgrace.
It's too expensive to get him in. Took him out for the City game and not been able to get him back into it. Anil says Amrabat, Mejbri and Mount would be a better midfield of Eriksson, McTominay and Bruno.
Sorry, which was his midfield again?
Amrabat, Hannibal and Mount. What would you rather go with?
I don't
Probably
know.
stick with what we've got.
Yellow cards flying
You
everywhere.
picked
There.
Bruno, Ricky.
Well, I've got to choose 3 or 3, haven't I? I'd put one of them 3 in for Bruno, but I've got to take 3 or 3, and I'd take McTominay and Eriksson over the others that named there.
Mini19 says, I felt that Erik still doesn't seem to understand English football after 1 year plus. He seems lost sometimes. What I do think, Faz, is that sometimes the language gets lost in translation. Like sometimes I don't even think Erik Ten Hag realises what he's saying in English. Like he's good, at English, but for example, he got quoted saying he'll never play the style of football he did at Ajax, and like a week later, he basically said that quote was misinterpreted.
Man United,
And
listen,
when he said about Casemiro, I wanted more football, I think that came across a lot more blunt than what he intended.
head was blowing after I was so angry. So angry.
When are you not?
And well, yeah, I have the right to be the way we are. And it's funny that the next game he doesn't do a press conference because he's not obliged to do a press conference against the Newcastle game. And then the one after, he then says, right, let me clarify. And the way he was speaking, it seemed like he's speaking to the fans and he's apologising. He's got his hand up and saying, look, this is the way I meant to say it and everything. You should never, listen, at Manchester United, you can never say that you're not going to play the football that you've played before because you don't have the players. Some of the things he's saying, and I can appreciate what you say, that I don't think he's realising what he's actually saying, because people on that side of the world, they're very direct with their English, you know. The Dutch, the Germans, they're very direct with their English, so I can appreciate that. But he knows he's the manager of Man United.
Well, it's like in the press conference in Copenhagen, the press officer that was next to him had to explain one of the questions to him a little bit. So obviously his English is good, but I do think sometimes people are expecting perfect English when he realistically, like a few years ago when he went for the Spurs job interview, he couldn't. One of the reasons he didn't get the job is because he could barely speak English. Like he's just learning it. So I think people need to cut him some slack.
Reckon we need a translator?
In that aspect. No, he can speak English. It's just certain terminology I think gets caught in mistranslation.
I'm with you.
If you get me. People are so quick, especially now because we're losing a lot of games, to jump on stuff straight away.
Yeah, I'm with
and as
you.
soon as people have it in their head, Erik Ten Hag's not maybe the right manager, that anything that comes out of his mouth, people are going to jump on the back of. And I think people just need to take a bit of perspective.
When does AFCON start?
Is it January, February time?
It's usually January, I think.
I think it's January. I mean, interesting. Your mate will be happy, Ricky. He wants to see Bayern doing that. That was an interesting conversation. But quickly, before we wrap up, we've got 2 minutes to go. Any threats from Luton that you think can be a problem? For me personally, I think Carlton Morris is a good centre forward. Thoughts, Faz?
Yeah, him being one of them, but Ross Barkley's starting, isn't he?
Pardon?
Ross Barkley's starting, isn't he, for Luton?
Yeah, Ross Barkley's starting.
Yeah, he's very good at carrying the ball through the midfield. So considering Eriksson is going to play that deep line playmaker for us, I won't be surprised if they have a lot of success carrying the ball forward in transition. Set pieces as well, obviously. We've got Lindelof and Maguire in the back. Hopefully we'll be all right. But if we concede a goal from set piece, naturally Man United always find it difficult to break a team down, a low block team down. So Mengi as well. Listen, Mengi as well. He might have something against Man United that they didn't give him a chance. So, and he's look a player who leaves a club like Manchester United for a lower, team in the lower parts of the table. They've always going to want to try and prove themselves when they come to play in the ground. Yeah. And yeah, I won't be surprised if he has a very good game and has a moment of magic as well.
Ricky, anyone for you?
I think Ogbeni looks sharp. I think he can be dangerous. And also Chong off the bench.
I think Kamara's good as well. Is he their wing back? He's Kabare. One of their wing backs. I was watching him against Liverpool. He was really good and gets forward really well. So the defence today, if on the quick counter attack. I mean, you look at Maguire, Reguilon, Lindelof, and Dalot against a counter attack. That could easily get caught out, couldn't it, Faz?
Yeah, I remember what game was it you were saying? on paper, our players are better than the opposition team. Was it
I think it was Newcastle.
Newcastle
That
game.
shot me in the foot, didn't it?
Yeah, Newcastle game, you said on paper. And
They were, though.
similar position here now, saying on paper. And the only thing people will have to say is, oh, Luton is a championship team. Yeah. What's up?
Sure.
I think, as someone just told me Wolves had scored in the 97th minute, but it's not coming up on my thing. Wolves have scored in the 97th minute.
Wow, who scored for them?
To win it, I don't know. It's just coming in the chat. So Wolves have beaten Tottenham 2-1 in the 97th minute. Ricky?
And it was 1-0 to Spurs on 90 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So they've scored twice in injury time like we did against Brentford.
Yeah.
Wow.
What are your thoughts on that? Because obviously I know you're looking towards...
I'm gutted. I just want the team, any team that can... Look, they're never going to stay up there, but I was hoping game by game that they'll stay up there and mount some sort of challenge, but they're already falling away, aren't they?
I mean, here's one for you, just before we wrap up the show. Onana, Faz, I saw him getting a bit of stick after Copenhagen again. Like, do you think that's a bit harsh? But I know you're not like maybe his biggest fan. So what's your thoughts on it?
I feel, you know what, actually, I feel sorry for him. I do. The way he's getting peppered with goals, it doesn't help his confidence. I've been an advocate of the 3-5-2 system for a while now, for the past few weeks, just to try and protect him, not get conceding that many goals. The amount of goals he's conceding is soon going to tally up more than the goals he's conceded last season in Inter. And he's obviously kept Binder out as well, but he is going to go in international duty in the winter, January time or whatever. So we'll see Binder then. But my main issue is I'm not seeing him do the things we bought him for. His long-range passing is actually, people keep saying, oh, he's getting the passes, but he's also giving away a lot of passes as well. And how funny is it that since pre-season, as each game has gone on, he's stopped going higher and higher on the pitch. He's started to stay lower and lower in his own line now, where he doesn't even come out the 6-yard box, which is very funny. Because the first game he come in, he's at the halfway line. Then obviously we concede a goal where he gets chipped, and then another mistake, and then another mistake, and every so many mistakes he keeps going 10 yards back, and now he doesn't come off his line at all. And we've gone back to last season where centre backs are starting the goal kicks off. So I'm not happy, I'll be honest, because we spent a lot of money to see the football that he can play, only for us to play the football that David De Gea played already.
Will someone in the chat let me know when the Wolves game ends? It's like in loads of injury time, I think, but will someone let me know when it ends? Because obviously when it ends, we'll be swapping over to Mark, but we're not going to swap over until it ends. But, I mean, Onana, I think, again, people are way too harsh. As soon as people has a problem with someone, obviously had a bad start to the season, people jump on it again. It's like with Varan, like if Maguire would have made the mistakes that Varan made in Copenhagen, he would have got slaughtered. But it's just people sometimes have it in for certain players in different
But you know what? I am proud that our goalkeeper, Andre Onana, is going to AFCON after him having issues with his international side. I am. I will never, ever, and I will never be with any fan that is against a player representing their country, ever.
Will you be saying that in January if the new keeper comes in and he's terrible?
Doesn't matter.
And United lose games that can cost us Champions League. Will you be saying that?
When Alejandro Garnacho was supposed to go to international duty, you did. But I will never ever disrespect a player because I think his loyalty is to me. There is nothing more to a player than to represent their country. Absolutely,
players should be able to represent the country, 100%. But at the end of the day, I support Manchester United. I don't support Cameroon.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I support Man United, and you want your players to be playing for you, especially in times of need. And if we don't know how Binder is yet, but if Binder isn't up to it, and we lose important games in that period of time, that is, for me, an issue.
Okay, and when you sign the player, you sit down with the player and their representative.
And we thought he was going to not be there because he retired from international football.
You don't just decide you're going to go back to international duty in 24 hours. These are conversations that were already being had. Because the guy who's running the international team is going to have to know who's going to be playing in January anyways. So you know these conversations are happening. They knowingly bought him, reason why Fred went to that club and Binder came here. And Kovar left. Add all the 2 plus 2, it adds up.
I'm not saying he shouldn't go to AFCON. A player should go to AFCON and represent the country, but I'm saying it's bad for us. It's not good for us.
And if Binder has a stinker in January, guess what? It's Ten Hag's fault anyways. because he wanted Bayern in Ajax, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Well, there you go. So the keeper's supposed to do the job that he's been brought in for.
Well, I'm going to have to wrap up in a few minutes anyway because we're going to be late to the game. So we can't go on for another 5 minutes.
Where is Mark not live yet?
We're going to be late, yeah, apparently.
Mark, where are you, mate? Where are you?
Yeah, so
That game's over.
Yeah, I know the game's over, but we're waiting for Mark to go live before we go live. That's the thing, 'cause we're going to push over. So we need him to be ASAP because we don't want to be late to the game. Because we're all going, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're all going. But yeah, interesting stuff. Last but not least, I mean, Faz, where are you at with Erik Ten Hag now?
Game week 15, 16. We're on game week 12. He's got 3 more weeks. And in 3 more weeks, if things don't turn around, then... and by turning around, I just mean we need to win. That's all. We just need to win. If, for example, today we end up losing...
Can't lose today. Cannot lose today. No chance.
Yeah, I've given him to game week 15,
but
16.
if you do lose today, where are you at?
Where?
Don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, but if we do, though...
I'm not even
If we lose today,
you know what?
At home to Luton Town, if we lose today.
Listen, I'm not in the forum, am I?
He's got to go tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, you're not.
No, so I'm just going to wait outside for Erik Ten Hag and the players. So give it to them after
You're not on the forum today?
No,
He was on the forum.
They've kicked me off the forum today. Oh, Jordan's on, that's why. Jordan's travelled.
Jordan here?
Yeah, Jordan's travelled up, that's why.
Yeah, Jordan will be on the forum, everyone. It'll be me, you, Jordan,
Kev.
and Kev.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be a good one. But we will miss you over on the forum. We will miss
International
you.
break. What game are we back after international break? What game is it?
Everton away, but I won't be here.
Oh, you won't be here.
I'll be in Winter Wonderland.
Wonderland?
I'm in London that week.
Who's taking you Winter Wonderland?
A very special
Have
person.
you got a winter? You got someone for winter, yeah?
Yeah.
Good on you.
I'm going with my friends.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're getting jealous, Faz.
No, I'm okay. I like to be warm anyways. I don't like the cold.
Yeah, I mean, we can tell by all the fancy coats you always wear on the shows. But Ricky, where are you at with Erik Ten Hag now?
If he loses today, he's got to go tomorrow.
Oh,
Ten Hag.
Come on.
You can't lose to Luton Town at Old Trafford.
Oh.
You cannot lose to Luton Town.
Listen, if he loses today, yeah, I don't care what the rules are. I'm coming on the forum. I couldn't give a heck. You're making space in the forum. I'm coming. I'm not. I can't sit there and not say anything if we lose today.
Yeah, we'll pull up an extra seat for
Yeah,
you.
you have
We
to.
won't lose. We won't lose.
Emergency meeting.
I just
Board
don't.
meeting.
I just don't see. The players are going to be like. They're going to have so much like. If you think about it, after the way what happened in midweek against Copenhagen, to lose 4-3 when you were winning 2-0, like you've got to come out today and like proper show a bit. Like you've got to. I just don't think there's a. If these players put the 100% effort in today, there's not a world in which we lose against Luton. There's just not. Like there's just not. There really isn't. The only way that we could is if players are turning their back on Erik Ten Hag, which I don't think we have seen. I think all the players are behind Ten Hag. I mean, Faz, what do you think? Because Hojlund said that he thinks the dressing room is completely behind Ten Hag in an interview.
They're going to say that, aren't they, really?
He's not going to come out and say
Yeah,
that. He want him
they're going
gone.
to say that, aren't they? You know, funny that when Varan was coming on in the Copenhagen game, neither Van der Gaag or Erik Ten Hag looked at him and spoke to him. Apparently, it was a different coaching staff that was speaking to him, and I was a bit surprised as to why the manager wouldn't be speaking to his player to give him some instructions. I don't know. But it's very natural for changing room disruption when things are not going well. For the people who think the changing room's going to be sunshine and rainbows inside, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's going to be a lot of finger pointing. There's going to be a lot of question marks being raised and a lot of shouting and arguing, and rightfully so.
Well, guys, that is the end of the show. Mark will be live soon. He's struggling to log in to get the game on right now, but we're going to have to wrap up because we're all going to the game. But Mark will be live very, very soon, everyone. But thank you for watching. Get your predictions in the comments and we'll look at them afterwards. Thank you to everyone for your super chats as well. And yeah, we'll be here, win or lose, after the game for the forum. So join us then. Make sure you like the video on the way out. Enjoy the game, everyone, and we will see you later.